Who's the most controversial? Linebacker Bill Romanowski. NFL hitman earned a nasty reputation for extraordinary violence, breaking bones of his opponents and even a teammate.
What happens when a football legend's fierce competitiveness crosses into infamy? Bill Romanowski wasn't just a linebacker, he was a feared enforcer who left behind broken bodies and bitter rivalries. A four-time Super Bowl champion, he embodied relentless toughness. But his career was also shaped by steroid use and the long-term effects of brain injuries.
Romo admits he has regrets, steroids, the cheap shots.
From dominance on the field to a violent altercation that ended it all, his story is a striking blend of glory and controversy, raising the question of how greatness can spiral into infamy. Career-defining aggression. Bill Romanowski's name is synonymous with brutality and intimidation on the football field. From the moment he stepped onto the NFL stage, he built a reputation as a linebacker whose physicality often crossed the line into violence. He was not just a competitor, he was a force feared equally by opponents and even his own teammates. His aggressive style made him an invaluable player for championship teams, but it also sowed the seeds of controversy that would define his legacy. There were numerous incidents where Romanowski's hits left lasting damage, including broken bones and serious injuries. These were not isolated moments, but a pattern that painted him as a player who played with little regard for the well-being of others. Beyond the physical impact on the field, his temper and intensity often sparked fights, sometimes causing damage to teammates as well. The fine line between toughness and recklessness was one Romanowski crossed time and again. His fierce approach earned him both admiration and fear, turning him into a sort of enforcer on the field. Teammates relied on his presence to deter opponents, yet many were wary of his unpredictability. It was said that his combination of steroid use and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, fueled a storm inside him, intensifying his aggression to levels few could handle. This volatile mix would later contribute heavily to the tragic chapters of his life. Romanowski's on-field violence often overshadowed his undeniable football skill. A four-time Super Bowl champion, he was part of dominant defenses that disrupted offenses and changed games. Yet rather than being remembered solely for tackles and interceptions, conversations often centered on his brutality and the consequences it brought. His career was a study in contrasts, exceptional athletic achievement intertwined with controversy and conflict. Despite his reputation, Romanowski was unapologetic about his style of play. He embraced the role of the paid assassin, viewing himself as an essential component of his team's success. The ferocity he brought to the game was as much psychological warfare as physical. For him, intimidation was a weapon, and he wielded it with fierce determination. This mentality, however, came with a heavy toll. Romanowski displayed his aggressive behavior at all times when he was not playing football. Romanowski demonstrated his unyielding pursuit of goals, which he maintained throughout his life through his locker room fights and his public fights. His intense behavior stayed active after the game because it affected both his private life and his public appearances. The non-stop tension that surrounded him created conditions that led to his ultimate decline. The exact point where Romanowski crossed from competitive behavior into his personal problems remains unknown. The external pressures, combined with his internal battles, created a complex personality that people found difficult to comprehend and accept. He represented the NFL's most violent time period because he showed both exceptional skills and dangerous abilities that he possessed. His dual nature established the pattern through which his success story developed into his ultimate downfall. Romanowski developed his public image through his later controversies, but his childhood experiences formed his strong work ethic and dedication to sports. His early life would create the foundation that built his athletic strength and determination to succeed. We need to investigate his earliest life experiences to discover the true character of the person who wears a helmet. The relentless pursuit of power and perfection was ingrained long before he entered the stadium lights. early life and athletic foundation. William Romanowski was born on April 2, 1966, in Vernon, Connecticut, into a family of 5 siblings. His parents, Bill and Donna Romanowski, worked hard to support their family, but money was tight. His father, once a standout basketball player himself, pushed young Bill to follow in his athletic footsteps. While initially drawn to basketball, it didn't take long for Bill to realize his true calling was on the football field. The childhood experiences of Romanowski became his motivation to follow the training methods that Herschel Walker used during his intense workout sessions. He followed Walker's rigorous training system through his annual goal of performing 100,000 push-ups and sit-ups. His training program enabled him to develop into an athletic powerhouse who weighed 190 pounds and stood 6 feet 1 inch tall by the time he reached high school. His dedication to training became the main characteristic that defined his existence. At Rockville High School, Romanowski emerged as an elite football talent, drawing attention from top college programs like Boston College, Miami, and Notre Dame. He selected Boston College as his college choice after receiving multiple offers because the school kept him within a short distance from his home. He realized his military career options after sports scholarship opportunities became available to him. This decision set the course for his football future. Romanowski developed into an exceptional linebacker through his tireless dedication to training and his physical growth during his high school years. His transformation included physical changes, which developed through the structured training schedule that required him to adhere to bedtime rules and prioritize sleep instead of following the late-night habits of his friends. This person displayed an extreme dedication to football, which made him stand out from his peers. The early years of Romanowski were filled with difficulties, but his commitment to his goals enabled him to make progress. The family of Romanowski possessed limited financial resources, which required him to work hard and make sacrifices in order to achieve his goals. The competitive fire that he developed during his early years became the driving force behind his aggressive NFL playing style. The man who developed toughness and resilience as his basic character trait started to appear during his early life. At this time, Romanowski started to develop an aggressive personality, which would make him a dangerous competitor according to his teammates and rivals. People recognized his athletic abilities, but his friends found his intense behavior frightening at times. His intense nature helped him become a leading NFL draft prospect. After Romanowski completed high school, he transformed into a dominant college football athlete from his previous status as an aspiring athlete. His time at Boston College would sharpen his abilities while he developed the toughness needed to succeed in professional football. His active playing style began to demonstrate his strong work ethic, which showed in his actual performance abilities on the field. His journey from an underweight boy to a college athlete demonstrated his dedication to learning every aspect of football, including its physical requirements and its mental challenges. The established path would lead forward, yet his deeper character aspects and professional development would take time to fully manifest. The forthcoming section will demonstrate how this initial base enabled him to reach NFL fame, which brought both success and conflict. From the streets of Vernon to the fields of Boston College, Romanowski was ready to make his mark. College and NFL draft journey. Romanowski wasted no time proving himself at Boston College after enrolling. He stepped onto the field as a freshman and quickly secured a starting role, showing that he was ready for collegiate football's physical demands. While defensive stats then were less detailed, Romanowski made his presence felt with key interceptions and tackles that earned respect across the conference. The 1984 Eagles team commenced their season at the 19th spot and achieved major victories against Alabama, which held the 9th position, and Miami, which held the 12th position. The team finished their regular season with a successful record of 9 wins and 2 losses, which allowed them to advance to the Cotton Bowl, where they achieved a comprehensive victory against the Houston Cougars. The team achieved success, but Romanowski needed to start his development process, which would enable him to become an effective linebacker. The next year presented multiple difficulties for the team. The team lost several important players through graduation, which resulted in a disappointing 4-win, 8-loss season. Romanowski improved his defensive abilities by obtaining more interceptions while establishing himself as a player who delivers powerful tackles. He achieved personal distinction through his commitment to training and sleep patterns, which created a boundary between him and his fellow training partners. The first half of Romanowski's junior year showed his growing impact on games. The Eagles finished their season with a 27-24 victory in the Hall of Fame Bowl against the 17th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Romanowski achieved his personal best performance by making 4 interceptions, which demonstrated his ability to defend against passing attempts and tackle running plays. His individual achievements began to rise while the team faced difficulties. The Boston College Eagles team in 1987, through their record of 5 wins and 6 losses, showed a decline, yet Romanowski achieved second-team All-American recognition. His work with the team helped him maintain his chances of entering professional football despite their challenges. He finished his career with a significant defeat against Syracuse, yet his performance had already established him as one of the top linebackers in the United States. Romanowski entered the 1988 NFL Draft because his ability to deliver powerful tackles and defend against passes made him an attractive draft candidate. Scouts recognized his outstanding physical abilities and uncommon skills, which he displayed on the field even though Boston College had a disappointing season. The NFL teams during that time period wanted linebackers who combined aggressive play with disciplined behavior because they matched this requirement. Romanowski started his professional football career when the San Francisco 49ers selected him in the 3rd round with the 80th overall pick. The 49ers dynasty period reached its peak because the team had future Hall of Fame players and esteemed veterans who would mentor younger athletes. The championship-caliber team presented a challenging path for the young linebacker to achieve his goals. Romanowski established his permanent place in the NFL during his first year when he played all 16 regular season games and started 8 of them. His special teams and defensive work showed the fierce determination that would become his trademark throughout his professional career. His first year in the NFL marked the start of his transformation into a more aggressive and intimidating player. Romanowski's leap from college star to NFL force was both a triumphant start and a prelude to the battles ahead. Rise with the San Francisco 49ers. Bill Romanowski joined the San Francisco 49ers during their period of success, which established them as one of the most successful teams in NFL history. The team featured multiple future Hall of Famers who joined experienced players to create a system that established rigorous standards for all new players. The roster needed to be earned through hard work, yet the environment provided Romanowski with a chance to develop his strong identity while he learned from top athletes. He demonstrated his exceptional potential through intense determination, which he showed during his first days in the program. Romanowski faced his initial challenge when he encountered Charles Haley, who was a famous defensive player who combined his athletic talent with his ability to intimidate others. Haley challenged Romanowski throughout their first training sessions as he tried to push the young linebacker beyond his limits by testing him during their training camp and special teams practices. Romanowski reacted to the situation with physical violence, which resulted in a fight that became famous because of its resolution method. After that point, Haley allegedly stopped bothering him, and Romanowski earned respect in the locker room because he showed bravery in all situations. He used the football field as his stage to demonstrate his daring nature because he started every game in his first season until he became a starter midway through the year. Romanowski achieved his first big victory when an enemy player pushed him back, but his mentor, Ronnie Lott, observed the situation and told him that all players must show respect for their opponents. The moment Romanowski received his first experience of aggressive hitting, he developed into a player who used force to battle opponents and create fights. The linebacker displayed both physical strength and mental toughness against his opponents. Romanowski reached his highest achievement during his rookie season when he intercepted a pass that helped the 49ers win Super Bowl, which ended with a score of 20-6 against the Denver Broncos. He finished his first season with 53 tackles and 3 forced fumbles, which made him essential to the championship defense after starting as a third-round draft choice. The running back, Roger Craig, proved to be a legendary figure whom Romanowski tested at the moment when their helmets collided during his practice sessions. His competitive drive compelled Romanowski to compete with almost obsessive determination. Romanowski showed moments of exceptional performance, yet he struggled throughout his second season to secure a regular starting position. He played in 16 games where he recorded 53 tackles, together with 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 1 sack, which designated him as a valuable player who showed irregular performance. His hard work earned him permanent starter status in 1990. The 49ers achieved an impressive record of 14 wins and 2 losses during the regular season, but they lost to the New York Giants in the competitive NFC Championship game. The playoff defeat at that moment has become notorious for its specific event. Romanowski, who played defensive back, used his strength to break the finger of Giants running back Dave Meggett after he became frustrated during a pileup. The act showed that he was developing his dark reputation, which combined excellent skills with violent physicality. He played for the next 3 years as a dependable starter because he participated in every match while he achieved substantial defensive accomplishments. The 49ers lost their 90s supremacy because Romanowski established himself as a player who hit hard but used dangerous tactics. His aggressive style sometimes landed him in trouble, including allegations of threatening Minnesota Vikings Hall of Famer Chris Carter early in a game. The two athletes had intense competitiveness between them because Carter put a bounty on Romanowski's head during practices and games. Romanowski also reportedly frustrated teammates with cheap shots on star receiver Jerry Rice, a level of intensity the team couldn't afford given Rice's importance. San Francisco sent Romanowski to the Philadelphia Eagles in 1994 because internal conflicts had reached their peak. Romanowski's transition to Philadelphia marked a new chapter, but the fire that fueled both his best and worst moments remained constant. Career highlights and controversies. With the Philadelphia Eagles, Romanowski's impact was immediate, but so was the aggression that often spilled over the boundaries of acceptable play. Early in the 1995 season, he was ejected for kicking Arizona Cardinals fullback Larry Centers multiple times in the head, a brutal act that earned him a $4,500 fine. Yet despite such incidents, Romanowski remained a key defensive player, helping the Eagles reach the divisional round of the playoffs that year. Over 2 seasons with Philadelphia, he accumulated notable numbers: 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 3.5 sacks, and 129 tackles. Yet the team failed to make the postseason in his final year there, and Romanowski seemed ready for a change of scenery. The following season, he signed with the Denver Broncos, where his career would experience both highs and deepening controversies. Romanowski quickly established himself as a defensive anchor in Denver. In his first season, he recorded 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and 77 tackles, his first Pro Bowl selection. But trouble followed as he developed a reputation for playing dangerously across all game situations. Early in the preseason, Romanowski delivered a helmet-to-helmet hit that broke Carolina Panthers quarterback Kerry Collins' jaw, a clear example of the violence he brought onto the field regardless of context. On a nationally televised Monday Night Football game against the 49ers, cameras caught Romanowski spitting on opposing wide receiver J.J. Stokes after being taunted, a symbolic moment illustrating the discord swirling around him. Yet his on-field production remained strong, with stats reflecting interceptions, forced fumbles, sacks, and tackles that helped the Broncos reach the playoffs and ultimately win Super Bowl 33. The following year, Romanowski again returned to the Pro Bowl, contributing 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, and 72 tackles. Denver defended their Super Bowl title by comfortably beating the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 33. Amidst this success, his reputation as a hard-hitting, no-holds-barred linebacker solidified, but so did the controversies. By 1999, Romanowski's aggressive behavior made headlines for all the wrong reasons. He landed 3 illegal hits in a single game against the Kansas City Chiefs. including throwing a punch at Hall of Fame tight end Tony Gonzalez, which cost him a $42,500 fine. Later that season, he was fined again for throwing a ball at Byron Cox of the New York Jets, hitting him in the groin area. Despite these incidents, Romanowski's career rolled forward with 2 more seasons at Denver before requesting his release. He then signed with the Oakland Raiders, continuing to display the same unchecked ferocity in his late 30s. In a game against the Tennessee Titans, Romanowski ripped the helmet off running back Eddie George, sparking a shoving match. The Raiders advanced to the Super Bowl that season, but lost decisively to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even in his late career, Romanowski showed no signs of slowing down. In 2003, he began the season strong with 2 sacks in 3 games. But his career took an unexpected turn during practice when a violent altercation with teammate Marcus Williams resulted in serious injury. The fight effectively ended not only Williams' career, but marked a closing chapter for Romanowski's own time in football. The complexity of Romanowski's career serves as a reminder that excellence and controversy often walk hand in hand on the brutal stages of professional sports. Steroid admissions and health consequences. Bill Romanowski's intense physical skill took a toll not only on his opponents but eventually on himself. After retiring from the NFL, a major revelation emerged. He was among the notable athletes linked to the infamous Bay Area designer Steroid lab known as Balco. Romanowski had long been known for his extraordinary physique and stamina, but few understood the extent of the supplements and substances that fueled his relentless drive. It was eventually revealed that his daily regimen included over 100 pills, costing him nearly $200,000 annually, with steroids confirmed as part of this cocktail during the 2001 to 2003 seasons. This admission brought new light to Romanowski's aggressive on-field behavior, calling into question how much of his ferocity was enhanced chemically. Steroids contributed to his physical dominance, but also may have amplified the volatility that made him a feared, often dangerous player. His combination of steroid use and the repeated head trauma he endured throughout his 17-year career formed a volatile mix that shattered more than careers. It endangered lives, including his own. Romanowski suffered numerous concussions during his career. He estimated around 20. That would have cut short most players' careers in today's NFL. The medical field during his playing days lacked the advanced understanding and developed protocols that permitted him to play while experiencing confusion symptoms together with memory loss and dazed states. He openly acknowledged the fear of his health deteriorating, recalling moments when his memory faltered after heavy hits. The long-term effects of these traumatic brain injuries would haunt him long after the stadium lights dimmed. Romanowski and his wife faced criminal charges for prescription substance fraud, which they committed to find relief from his physical and neurological impairments. The episode showed how former football players who suffered from addiction and persistent injuries faced life after football despite the charges being dismissed. Romanowski became a cautionary example of how even the toughest competitors could be broken by the physical cost of the sport. The steroid revelations about his steroid use damaged Romanowski's reputation beyond his physical health because they showed that his achievements were based on both dangerous methods and unfair advantages. The public and media began to associate his name not just with violent hits, but illicit supplementation and the ever-growing crisis of doping in professional sports. Romanowski's acceptance of steroid use changed everything because it showed people what he needed to pay in order to sustain the Iron Man persona that he created across many years. The health impacts of the situation provide only a partial understanding of what happened. The man developed mental health problems because he used steroids and suffered brain injuries from his aggressive behavior. His internal conflict between his past achievements and his present difficulties showed his weak points, which he tried to hide with his intimidating presence. His story reflected the larger story of the NFL period, which struggled to manage the effects of excessive toughness. Romanowski's experience increased public understanding of CTE, which stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy and represents a brain disease that develops through repeated head injuries in contact sports. The disorder commonly results in people experiencing mood fluctuations and aggressive behavior while they lose memory abilities and act without thinking. His reputation as a dangerous player who created conflicts outside football gained new meaning through his medical diagnosis, which revealed his hidden psychological struggles. Romanowski confronted public judgment about his steroid use and concussion-related health problems, but his case also revealed deep issues about how the league protects its players. His extended playing time through multiple injuries demonstrates how the sports culture valued toughness at the expense of his permanent health. Football needs to change its player safety programs because the current system fails to protect athletes and sustain their future health. The physical and legal consequences that followed Romanowski's playing days would soon add another layer to his complicated legacy. Post-retirement legal and financial troubles. Life after football brought a harsh reality check to Bill Romanowski, one filled with legal wrangles, financial hardship, and public controversies. The infamous 2003 punch that ended the career of teammate Marcus Williams forced Romanowski to pay $415,000 in damages, a steep price for a moment of lost control with lifelong consequences. This payout, while significant, was only a fraction of the financial and legal struggles that would compound his difficulties in the years ahead. Romanowski filed for bankruptcy in 2024 because he faced increasing federal tax collection efforts, which the IRS initiated against him to recover more than $15 million in overdue tax payments. Many people who knew the linebacker as an impressive athlete with exceptional wealth found this news to be startling. The situation behind the situation remained extremely serious because his financial obligations kept accumulating while he failed to make his payments, and the consequences of his financial mistakes came to their peak. Tax issues did not define his legal struggles. The Romanows faced serious charges of prescription substance fraud, which demonstrated the complicated and often disturbed ways that former players deal with their injuries and ongoing pain. The charges were dropped, but they increased public interest in Romanowski's post-football life while starting discussions about the support that retired athletes receive or do not receive. He faced difficulties in handling public relations work. Romanowski's social media activities attracted public backlash after he deleted a tweet that many people interpreted as racist toward NFL quarterback Cam Newton. The incident led to a public apology from him, which he used to explain his intention for Newton to grow up. The incident brought back painful memories of previous conflicts, which included the famous spitting incident between him and wide receiver J.J. Stokes. The actor Romanowski, who appeared in The Longest Yard and The Bench Warmers, maintained his public recognition beyond his NFL career. The actor Romanowski launched a nutritional supplement business called Nutrition 53 and bought a small stake in the Swan Racing team, which competes in NASCAR. He tried to make a new life after he finished playing football, but past scandals continued to follow him. Romanowski maintained his football connection through his work as defensive coordinator at Piedmont High School and his pursuit of multiple coaching opportunities. The 2009 Denver Broncos head coaching position became his target while he pursued strength and conditioning positions with the Washington Commanders to maintain his connection to football after his career ended. As the final chapters of his story unfold, Romanowski's legacy remains a blend of remarkable talent, fierce competitiveness, and the serious consequences of a life lived on the edge. Legacy and final reflections. Bill Romanowski's legacy in professional football is a blend of remarkable achievement and lasting controversy. Over a 16-year career, he recorded 1,118 tackles, 39.5 sacks, 19 forced fumbles, 18 interceptions, and a defensive touchdown. He earned 2 Pro Bowl selections and won 4 Super Bowls, establishing himself as one of the most durable and productive linebackers of his era. He achieved the nickname Iron Man after playing 243 games without missing any. His career was defined by his tough nature, which matched the times when people praised those who could endure physical pain. He maintained his impressive performance until his 30s because of his strong work ethic, yet this dedication resulted in negative effects. Romanowski displayed an aggressive style that frequently exceeded acceptable boundaries. ESPN declared him one of the dirtiest players who ever played professional sports because he delivered dangerous tackles while fighting opponents on the field. His many accomplishments became less important because people remembered him for incidents that resulted in injuries and showed unsportsmanlike conduct. His unpredictable behavior results from his experience with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, combined with his extended period of steroid consumption. These elements led to both his athletic conduct and his subsequent personal and medical difficulties throughout his existence. His narrative demonstrates how professional football damages both the body and mind. Romanowski experienced the same problems that many former athletes encounter after they stop competing, including financial problems, legal battles, and various public exposure incidents. His life became a cautionary tale about the difficulties of transitioning away from elite competition. He stayed involved with the sport because he worked as a coach and started business ventures. His impact shows both the height of football's physical combat style and the rising public understanding of its health effects. Bill Romanowski's story is one of triumph and tragedy, illustrating the fine line between greatness and downfall. His relentless drive brought championships, but also personal ruin. Remember to like this video if you found this story compelling and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of the NFL's most complex figures. Your thoughts are welcome in the comments below.